morning, everyone. For honorable adjudicators, ladies and gentlemen, and all my friends here, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Myla Utami. I'm a first speaker of proportion team. With motion, this house believe and rise of AI generate in content of journalistic. My role is I'm going to explain our argument without motion. AI of artificial intelligence is one of technological development we use so many needs. The use of AI in media's work is highly controversial. Why? Because so many people who agreed and disagreed with that opinion. And my opinion is, I said yes. Why? Because on journalistic content, it must be had real time and real places without any artificial editing. I have two perspectives about this. First, on audience side. Audience will not believe that news or maybe the information quickly, not as live streaming. I make that sure because not all of audience can tell is it real or not with AI generated. They have thought it first. Is it real or not? I make that sure. And if they use AI generate on newspaper or maybe on streaming, it really highly concerning about the accuracy because it had AI generate on it. Second, from journalist side. On journalist side, it really can have effect on their efficiency of their job. I'm said the reporter job. Why? Because reporter had job to report and news on real time and real places without any editing. What if in future AI replace reporter job? I know it's really felt wrong. I know that it's really felt wrong. But what if it's really happening in future? I hope it doesn't. And Compass TV article, it has a news. In Italy, on March 2025, there's a newspaper with almost written by AI. Even someone said this will be the first daily newspaper written by AI. I don't know if it's real or not, but I know it's really concerning about our medias. Venus University said AI cannot replace human, but human who use AI can replace human who cannot use AI. And plus, if someone use AI generated to make an information for that, it's highly concerning about the accuracy. I said it before. Accuracy of AI generate is really different of live streaming. Audience or someone who saw a real live streaming on AI generate streaming or maybe videos or illustration is highly different. It's highly different because even so an AI generate it based on news or based on real information. It's really different with a streaming or maybe live streaming. Okay? And that's all I said.
I will begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. AI is reducing journalism jobs, weakening newsroom economics, and reducing core journalistic values, even if full replacement hasn't happened yet. Good morning, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable judges, my name is Wildan Ahmad Musyaffa, and I will be speaking as the second speaker for the proposition side. To the top, today's motion, the House regrets the rise of AI-generated content in journalism. Firstly, the opposition side may say that AI-generated content could help with illustration work. However, it would be dishonest to say that generative AI could be passed as authentic. It doesn't create humanity in data visualization. Moreover, it would narrow the need for visual designers in the first place. Secondly, you could say AI could be used as a task with routine work and help with efficiency and all that. But you're missing something important by doing this. By doing that, you are directly damaging the labor market. Fears are the highest for entry-level white-collar workers, where it removes the main path where new journalists learn reporting, fact-checking, source work, transcription, research summaries, and drafting. These are how juniors build skill. And if AI does that, that training will be gone. The information sector, including media and publishing, is losing 280 jobs a month in 2026. And as AI adoption accelerates, 2,700 journalism jobs were lost last year alone. Lastly, another argument could be raised that AI could be used to increase production, increase speed, increase quality in the world of journalism. However, that would directly ignore the fact that generative AI is cheaper. It produces rapid content. AI content farms produce high volume, low cost articles that compete for clicks. This worsens financial pressure on local and investigative outlets, with over 2,500 local US papers closing or cutting in operations in 2020 through 2026. Low quality, excuse me, in the world of economy, production of low cost and high rate manufacture creates low quality products. I would like to say that generative AI has been harming the labor market, not just in terms of job availability, but also on economics on a whole, of the lack of laws placed in this world to protect individual journalists with having no control of their work being used for AI training. With that, I close my arguments as the second speaker. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, honorable adjudicators and judges, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Muhammad Fathoni Jauhari, and as the third speaker of the proposition team, my role here is to strengthen my team's case and arguments while also pointing out the cracks and flaws of the opposition team's arguments. With the lack of the opposition team, my role here is to strengthen my team's arguments and also summarize this whole debate. Ladies and gentlemen, today's motion states that this House regrets the rise of AI-generated content in journalism. Throughout this whole debate, the proposition team has constantly proven that replacing journalistic content with AI-generated illustrations does more harm than good. The opposition team may argue that AI is merely a tool to increase efficiency and reduces cost. However, the increase in efficiency should never come at the cost of credibility and accountability. Just like our first and second speaker has stated, the use of AI in journalism is actively threatening the jobs of true journalists. News organizations are increasingly automating their routine reports and reducing entry-level positions. This removes important opportunities for new, young reporters to develop the essential skills needed for their growth, such as interviewing sources and verifying data if they are credible or not. This brings me to an argument said by our first speaker. The use of AI in journalism decreases the credibility of news agencies because the audience will have a hard time believing news presented with AI imagery and narration. AI-generated illustrations, no matter how realistic they look because of their inconsistencies, cannot serve as direct evidence of real events. And like our second speaker has stated, AI pulls from similar datasets and they use almost the same formats every single time. Formats that, when coupled with AI imagery instead of real images, may decrease public trust and credibility of the news outlet. Once public trust is damaged, the value of journalism itself has weakened. Furthermore, AI generated content creates an economic pressure in the world of journalism. When using AI, it allows organizations to pump out news faster and cheaper. The value of real, authentic human journalism work declines. This affects local newspapers that rely on experienced reporters to become more vulnerable to budget cuts, which in turn produces layoffs and unemployment. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to say that this debate is not about rejecting the flow of time and technology. We recognize that AI can be useful for assisting research, transcription, or administrative work. However, replacing whole jobs like authentic imagery and narration crosses the line. Visual evidence is the strongest foundation of journalism and should never be sacrificed for convenience. Honorable adjudicators, ladies and gentlemen, before ending my speech, I would like to remind you that we, as the proposition team, still fully support this motion. Our team has presented solid arguments throughout this whole debate. And for all of those arguments, we firmly believe that the victor of today's debate falls to the proposition team. Thank you for the time and opportunity. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm going to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, honorable adjudicators, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Muhammad Fathoni Jauhari, and today I am standing here as the replay speaker of the proposition team. My role here is not to introduce new arguments, but to explain and ensure why our team has won today's debate. Ladies and gentlemen, before I start to fully deliver my speech, I would like to remind you that we, as the proposition team, still stands proudly with the motion that this House regrets the rise of AI-generated content in journalism. To recap, our team has established 3 clear reasons to support this motion. First, AI-generated illustrations undermine public trust and reduce confidence in news accuracy. Second, widespread AI adoption threatens journalism jobs and weakens the professional development of future reporters. Third, it places economic and ethical pressure on the journalism industry while reducing accountability and authenticity. Our team has consistently shown time and time again that journalism exists to deliver truthful, reliable, and verifiable information for the audience. And the high influx of AI-generated content, be it illustration or narration, is a threat to the credibility of journalism. The opposition may argue that AI simply improves efficiency or serves as another tool for journalists. However, we have never argued against AI as a supporting tool. Our case has always been about replacing authentic illustrations with AI-generated ones. There is a huge difference between using AI to assist journalists and allowing AI to replace or take over a core identity of journalism. When we compare the points in the future, our side clearly carries greater weight. Our arguments that focuses on the loss of public trust, the weakening of journalistic standards, threats to employment, and the long-term credibility of the media has been carefully thought out and has been proven to align with the motion. This proves that our arguments are superior and carry more weight. For these reasons, we, as the proposition team, deserves to be the victor of today's debate. Once again, thank you for the time and opportunity. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.